Hello, 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 Wolfpack. Fox Trevize here for. Oh God, what day is it? I don't even know it. I think it's day 11. That's what my notes say. But it is. Regardless of what day it is for the trial, it is day one of jury deliberation in the Rittenhouse trial saga. Now, let me see if I can put this up on the screen here. Just so that you guys are aware, I do have two live streams going right now on the courtroom. We are all very patiently waiting to see if the jury will come back with a verdict. It is been rumored slash reported slash reported of rumors that the judge will be coming back at 5:30 Kenosha time, which is 6:30 Eastern. That is currently 6:18 Eastern. So the judge is rumored to be coming back in about 12 minutes with a decision from the jury as to whether or not they want to stay longer into the evening and continue discussing or continue deliberating rather, or if they would rather come back in the morning to continue deliberation tomorrow. Lot to actually not. That's a lie. That was just me saying stuff. Not a lot to get into, but enough to fill approximately 11 minutes. If while I'm talking, one of these live streams suddenly starts having sound, we will switch to it immediately. But while we're waiting, what happened today? So, as you guys are probably aware, Kyle Rittenhouse, the trial phase of his trial is over, and it was sent off to the jury to begin deliberation. Yesterday, we had some very interesting closing arguments from both sides. It was my contention last night that the defense's closing argument was could have been better. Probably could have been a lot better. Was probably the incorrect tone for a jury, though it may have been the correct tone for the national conversation. However, there is a kind of a difference, and that's what I discussed last night, is while it might be beneficial for a national conversation to say it's a good thing Kyle was able to defend himself. Not just that Kyle didn't do anything bad, but Kyle did something good in defending himself. That, on a national conversation level, is exactly correct. That is the decision that needs to be that needs to be made. That is the national conversation that needs to be happening, is that it is not enough that it is just that you've not done anything wrong when you defend yourself, but we need to be actively pro self-defense. One of the reasons why the culture has been slanted against self-defense is kind of in the precursor phase of the Marxism that would like to take over our current country and our culture right now. It's very necessary that the culture not have a strong sense of self-defense if, in 5 to 10 years, black shirts and red shirts are going to be beating you up in the street and, doing stuff to you, as we've seen in every other communist country the last century. If we continue to have a culture of self-defense and a legal system which defends that right to self-defense, then it's going to be a lot harder for the boots on the ground, the Antifa types, the BLM types, the Democrat foot soldiers to harass you in the streets and to do things like Kristallnacht, things of that nature. All of the atrocities that we saw in every other socialist or national socialist or national communist regime throughout history. We've discussed that this trial is about self-defense, but as I said, Kyle's lawyers making that argument in that way that I just framed it, is good for the national conversation, but it might not be good for Kyle. What Kyle needed his defense, and what I'm suspecting his defense needed to do, and I could be wrong on this, we'll see. It was a gamble. I think that when you're talking to the jury and justifying what Kyle did, I don't think that you need to be quite as heavy-handed. I don't know that that's going to be a winning strategy with 12 individual people. Might be a great strategy when you're looking at the nation, but it might not be as good of a strategy when you're looking at 12 jurors. And it was my contention that it didn't matter how you argued for Kyle. It didn't matter what needed to be done. Kyle needed to be released of these charges. I didn't care what it took. I didn't care if they didn't make the perfect political argument for the benefit of the nation. I cared if they made the perfect political argument or perfect legal argument for the benefit of Kyle. That was all that mattered. So, again, the defense last night could have done a lot better. Now, the state closing arguments, those were interesting. Again, we had we had the state call Kyle a rat, called him pathetic, called him a sniveling 17-year-old. We had the fatter of the two state prosecutors, I guess, try to check Kyle's man card by saying that he should have let Rosenbaum beat him up. That we've all been beaten up every now and then, and Kyle's a coward for not using his fists, I guess. I don't know. That was weird. We might end up rewatching some of those highlights here if nothing else comes in. So that was yesterday, which I'm sure you guys are all caught up on that. Then today, so after closing arguments, everybody sent home for the night. Now this morning, the jury was brought in shortly, and the final instructions were given. Kyle, now I think we talked about this at the beginning, way back for jury selection here. Yeah, I'm gonna get into that triumvirate. Actually, triumvirate, you wanna pop up Skype? I might pull you in here. Timber, you're invited. Any of the regulars, if you want to DM me on Skype, I might be able to pull you in for some casual conversation, because I'm about 6 minutes until I don't have anything left in my notes to say. Might be there now. Let's see here. So we talked about this at the beginning with jury selection phase. The way Wisconsin sets up their juries is you need to get down to 12 eventually, but Wisconsin whittled in pre-jury selection down to 20 jurors, and all 20 jurors, or all potential jurors, watched the entire case, and none of them knew which one was going to be part of the group of final 12. Throughout the case, of the 20, 2 of them had to relieve for personal reasons, which left us with 18 jurors this morning, meaning six of them needed to be removed. So the way it worked, which I thought was a little cruel, potentially cruel. Hey, Shadow Lightning, how you doing? They put the 18 jurors' numbers into a big spinning wheel, like a lotto picker thing, and then they made Kyle draw out 6 numbers, and those were the 6 jurors that were dismissed. I thought that was a little cruel, because if the decision goes the wrong way, that's a lot to keep you up at night when you were the one who picked which jurors were being dismissed. We've heard rumors that of these 6 jurors that were dismissed, 2 of them were gun owners, and 1 of them was a Green Bay Packers fan. I don't know that that's a lot to go on, but I'm guessing that they weren't libs. I would guess that they're not libs, although if you are still at this point in time still a football fan, maybe you are. I don't know. So that was probably not the best. I believe the final juror composition had 7 women and 5 men on it, which is pretty... That might be a problem. So there was some discussion as to what has more weight with a female juror, the thought of their son being chased down by, well, the jurors don't know that he was a pedophile. The thought of their son being chased down in a dark alley and beaten up, as Krause just discussed in the closing arguments, or does their fear of the big scary black rifle, does that hey there, does that weigh more heavily in their hearts? So, are they more scared of the gun, or are they more scared of imagining their own son being chased down in a dark alley like Kyle was? I don't know. I think I would have preferred a heavier male if I was a heavier male jury. If I was to just pick out random people, I think that a man might understand the physical altercation better. Certainly a lot of sexist bias there. I'm not gonna make any bones about that. But again, this isn't about political correctness. This is about what gives Kyle the best chance to get acquitted. Now on the flip side of that, I think that the state's argument, their state's closing argument, where they said that, well, sometimes you just need to get beat up. Just because somebody's manhandling you doesn't give you the right to shoot them. I think from a woman's perspective, there's a lot of compelling reasons why that might not be a good line of argumentation for them, given that women are on the typically losing end of domestic violence situations when there's a male involved. And plenty of women have found the great equalizer to be a firearm. So I don't know. I think it could go either way at this point, based off the jury composition. We'll get into some of the rumors that have been coming out in the last few minutes here, though. All right, so after Kyle was forced to essentially draw his lot, again, I think I was a little cruel, but all right. They got it whittled down to 12 jurors, and they sent the some final instructions for the jury, and then they sent the jury on their way. What time did that happen this morning? I think that happened around maybe like 10:30 Eastern. I can't quite remember. I believe it was about 10:30 Eastern. I might be off by an hour, but I'm pretty sure it was 10:30 Eastern. Which means that they have been deliberating for 7 hours as of now. And possibly, it is now 6:30 Eastern, just rolled over. Possibly any minute now, the judge will be taking the stand and saying whether or not the jury will continue on for the night, or if they've already come up with a verdict, or maybe they'll just go home and this was all for naught. I don't know. All right. So throughout the day, because there was nothing to watch today, there was some interesting discoveries. So you guys may remember Jump Kick Man. Jump Kick Man was the guy who jump kicked on Kyle's face. Kyle shot at him twice and missed both times, unfortunately. Kyle testified that Jump Kick Man's boot was on Kyle's face. He could feel the boot on his face. Now, Jump Kick Man is one of the unnamed complainants in the case. So Kyle is charged with, one of his charges is 1 count of reckless endangerment against Jump Kick Man. Well, Jump Kick Man didn't make that complaint. The state made that complaint on behalf of Jump Kick Man because we were told no one could find Jump Kick Man. That Jump Kick Man was unfindable, even though, the FBI had apparently a bunch of surveillance craft in the air. There was, hundreds of hours of video all over the place. Certainly somebody could have found him, but I guess not. I'm guessing that they didn't spend a lot of time trying to find them. And we found out today. Well, let me go back here, because it was my contention way back when, my prediction way back when this first came up a few weeks ago. It was my prediction that if we ever found Jump Kick Man, that the reason why Jump Kick Man never came forward was because Jump Kick Man probably had a rap sheet a mile long, because it probably matched all of the other people that Kyle shot at that night. Again, we have a serial pedophile, a serial domestic abuser, a serial armed burglar, and we've now actually found, so it was my prediction that Jump Kick Man never came forward because he was probably had a long rap sheet, and he was probably wanted on some charges, or he had some cases pending against him, and he didn't want to be found out that he was at a riot. So Jump Kick Man has now been found. Oh, I see the judge. I see the judge. I do have the volume on, so they're not actually sending us volume yet. So we'll see. As soon as he starts talking, I'll stop. So Jump Kick Man has been found. Wow. Where did we find Jump Kick Man? The trial's over. Where was Jump Kick Man been hiding at this whole time? Well, it turns out I was correct. Jump Kick Man does have a rap sheet a mile long. He's a serial domestic abuser, which matches Anthony Hubert. He actually has some burglary charges as well, so he's a friend of Gage, I'm sure. Then he has a mixture of drug crimes and escaping custody and various measures. He also, at the time of the shooting, at the time that he was jump kicking on Kyle's face, he was actually he was on probation. So I was close. I was right that he had a rap.
P.D. James.
Oh,
Do you all remember that?
let's see what they
How
got.
about meteorology? And these discharges associated with cubo. Oh man, cubo.
Okay, so he is playing Jeopardy right now.
British authors for 600.
He's playing Jeopardy right now, which is something I did during
He wrote
jury
The War
selection
in the
earlier.
Air as well as The War of the Worlds.
All right, we're gonna.
War in the Air as well as the War. Who said that?
All right, I'm gonna mute him down. Not mute, but I'm gonna lower his volume a bit. I'm guessing that they will point the camera at his face when something interesting happens. So I'll just kind of keep talking while they're playing Jeopardy. So I think I had said this a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about the jury selection. The judge, during the kind of waiting time, he played Jeopardy with the the potential jurors, which was interesting and fun, I'm sure. And it sounds like he's playing Jeopardy again, probably with the people, the 6 jurors who were dismissed because they. Let's see here. Yeah, those 6 jurors were told to stay where they were, so they weren't actually sent home because if they're needed, they need to be, I guess, fresh. And so they stayed at the courthouse. Let's see here. So, yeah, so Jump Kick Man, long rap sheet, and had he was under probation while he was at the riot, and rioting while in probation, not very good. How do we know this? Well, as it turns out, Jump Kick Man is currently being prosecuted by none other than D.A. Binger. Binger is prosecuting Jump Kick Man after Binger told the court and told Kyle's defense team they didn't know who Jump Kick Man was. Now, why is this an issue? Well, because Jump Kick Man would have been a very interesting witness. He would have either had to perjure himself on the stand, or he could have, I don't know, I guess explained what he was doing to Kyle, and that would have given Kyle some, perhaps a better defense against the reckless endangerment of Jump Kick Man. It would have also colored to the jury the types of people that were chasing after Kyle that night. Any number of things could have happened if Jump Kick Man was made available to the defense. And I don't know what's going to happen to Binger for lying about that. That seems pretty severe that the state would be lying about a witness like that. So this is actually the second witness that Binger kind of lied about. So we found out last night that the reason why the Zeminskis weren't able to testify is because Binger has a arson case against the Mr. Zimmerman. Yeah, Mr. Zimmer. And normally an arson case would get prosecuted pretty quickly. It's usually pretty cut and dry, wing, bang, bomb, done. And instead of prosecuting it quickly, Binger has chosen to wait 15 months to prosecute Zimmer for that. Now, what does that mean? Well, it means that because Zimmer has an open case that's semi-related to Kyle's case, if Zimmer were to testify in Kyle's case, then he would be able to invoke his Fifth Amendment right to not incriminate himself in his currently open case. However, if Binger had prosecuted Zimmer for arson in a timely manner and already completed that case, like let's say Binger had finished that case 6 months ago. Well, now Zimmer can be compelled to testify, and because the case for Zimmer is already over, because his arson case would have already been decided one way or the other, then Zimmer wouldn't be able to invoke a Fifth Amendment right to not testify. So basically, because of decisions Binger made, and I think it's obvious that he did it intentionally, because of decisions Binger made, he was able to keep Zimmer from being an available witness for the defense. He was also able to, now it sounds like just through sheer lying, able to keep Mr. Jumpkick Man from being a witness as well. That's interesting. I don't know what's going to happen with that. I don't know what the possible ramifications are for that. I'm guessing none. That's what I'm guessing. But I mean, I don't know. Shouldn't there be something? Shouldn't be like the state withholding evidence? I don't know. I guess not. But I guess we'll see. It was just interesting that Mr. Jumpkick Man is now a known individual. He does have a name. Let me see here. Actually, I might go back. Yeah, actually, we do have a story. Maybe we'll go back and read that here in a bit. All right, so then we had some interesting news about AMP5. What is AMP5? AMP5 is the magic hocus pocus image editing software that was able to create the very blurry image. Hold on a second. The very blurry image of Kyle not holding his gun at the Zeminskys. Not only can you not see Kyle in the image pointing his gun at anybody, but also you can't see the Zeminskys, who he's supposedly pointing a gun at. Very interesting. But either way, this Kyle's defense team kind of had their zinger one-liner of the case, which was hocus pocus out of focus, and that was in reference to this image that was created. Let me see. I got really quiet here. Anything else going on? That was in reference to this image that was created using the AMP5 software. So the state freeze-framed a very shaky drone footage, quadcopter camera that was shooting in 720, and then they picked out 100 pixels that they think Kyle is in, and then they blew it up about 100 times, 100x, using just pinch zoom on it, basically. And then they cleaned up that image using what they called smart resize. And there was a bunch of discussion last week about, well, there's extra pixels in this image now. Where did those extra pixels come from? And the state was unable to explain where the extra pixels came from. Their image editor had no idea how the algorithm worked. He just said that, well, AMP5 is a standard forensic tool, and it's commonly accepted. Well, is it now? Because some enterprising Twitter users, I don't know why Kyle's lawyers weren't able to do this, but some enterprising Twitter users went to AMP5's website and found, you can see right here, this is from Darth Crypto at DefNotDarth. He is on blog. Let me see here. I'll zoom in on this. Yeah, I guess I can't zoom on Twitter. Anyways, you can find this yourself at blog.ampedsoftware.com. Ampedsoftware.com. So AMP5, again, this image software that the state of Wisconsin uses to, I guess, fabricate evidence. They had a blog page that talked about the use of their software in a criminal or a legal context. Some interesting stuff in there. Now, you may remember, if you watched the case, you may remember me telling you that the state testified that in the creation of this alleged photo of Kyle pointing a rifle at people, that they used two types of zooms. One was called bicubic interpolation. So like when they zoomed in on it and they added more pixels to the image to zoom in on it, the way that those new pixels received colors was through an algorithm called bicubic interpolation. Now, they also testified that they used a second method called smart resize. Well, what's that? I don't know. I thought at the time, I speculated at the time that that was probably a proprietary AI algorithm of the AMP5 software, and it turns out I was correct. So Darth Crypto did some internet sleuthing, real big brain, detective work here by going to ampedsoftware.com for the AMP5 software package that the state testified that they used. And what does their website say? It says images enhanced with AI should not be accepted in general for evidentiary use. What does that mean? That means that AMP5 says their software cannot create images using AI algorithms. I'll get back to that in a second here. I'll be generous with this. That AMP5 does not recommend that you use images enhanced with their AI algorithm to use that as evidence in a court case, is what that means. Now, they do go on to explain that other image enhancement algorithms like bicubic and other linear interpolation algorithms can be used for evidence, but they say that AI enhanced images should not be, because it's not a repeatable process usually with the way that AI works. So when the state testified that they used both bicubic, which is a well understood method by people who aren't the state, and then they said that they used smart resize, Kyle's lawyers never asked what smart resize is. They never asked what smart resize is. And I pose to you that smart resize is obviously AMP5's AI resizer tool, which is great that they were able to make something like that. But the state needs to be that the state did not do Kyle's defense team did not do the legwork of investigating that, which is kind of a problem, because I think this would have been essentially proof positive that image needed to be dismissed. Now, the state made that image one of the focal points of their closing arguments, and Kyle's lawyers, had they Googled correctly, could have had that dismissed in a few seconds. All it would have taken is for the Kyle's defense team to say to the judge, hey, the state doesn't understand how the software works. They just testified, I don't know, 7 times. And Amped website, you can see it right here. They say that images coming out of it can't be used as evidence. Sir, judge, you need to dismiss this image. It can't be allowed in as evidence. And the judge would have said, oh, wow, yeah, it does say it right there, that it can't be used for evidentiary use. That was I hope that this isn't like the big fumble. You can have a few fumbles and still win the game. I don't know if this is the fumble that lost the game. I guess that's what we'll find out when the jury comes back. But it certainly is something that could have been avoided had somebody Googled for, I don't know, a minute. That's unfortunate. So we found out today, after the trial phase is over, that Jump Kick Man does exist. He is known. The state was lying about that, but it's too late because juries are already deliberating. And we also found out that AMP5 images are not admissible as evidence. But again, too late. Trial phase is over. Jury. I mean, geez, it would have been nice if some of this stuff was known. Uh-oh. I hear noises. All right, well, that's good, because that's all the other stuff I had to say, other than some late-breaking updates on... Let's see here. We'll see what the judge has to say here. All right, well, while we're waiting for him... Let's see here. So this is the judge. I don't know if they're going to come back with a jury decision. I don't know if they're going to say that they're going to come back tomorrow. I don't know. We could be listening to the verdict here in a second. I don't know.
No, she was asking me a question. I didn't hear it. Not yet. I talked to them separately, yes. Yes. All right. By the way, while we're waiting for the jury to come down, the media, somebody asked from the media, and I have no idea who, inquired about the method of selection of those to be struck from the jury just now, this afternoon, this morning. That's been the practice in this court for I'm going to say 20 years at least that I've been doing that. That the defendant in a criminal case is the one who makes the selections from the tumbler as to the jurors to be dismissed. So.
That was him talking about making Kyle pick which jurors were going out, which again, I still think it's cruel. Might be kind of interesting and maybe kind of darkly funny, but I think it's cruel when you really think about it. Alrighty, so it would appear that they're still waiting on the jury to come back down. Now, the judge is about almost 20 minutes late here compared to when he said he was going to come down. So I'm wondering if maybe he just let the jury do an extra 20 minutes and maybe they're going to actually come back with a verdict here. I don't know.
Just in case.
Let's see here. Mr. Binger, about an hour and a half ago, put out a press release saying that, I'm not kidding, that it would be unethical for him to put out a press release, and so he wasn't going to do it, which he put out in the form of a press release. It's very funny. Bagel Mensky, are you saying that you are? Are you saying that you're there?
You're in the first class seats now. All right. I understand that you wish to break for the evening, which is certainly your prerogative. You're in charge at this particular point, and I also understand that.
Oh, yeah.
I was told that I'm not clear on whether you decided you wanted to come back at 9 or if that was conveyed to you that that's what we wanted. But I'm going to take a vote just to make sure. How many want to report at 9? Okay. That makes it easy. And so we're going to break for the evening. Now, you're in deliberation, and the rules are the same as they were before, with the additional provision that you can't talk with anybody about the case, even if all 12 of you by happenstance end up at the same place, a bowling alley or a restaurant or something. You're not allowed to talk about the case, even with all 12. And when you get here in the morning, if you come a little early or somebody's late, and there are 11 of you or 10 of you or whatever, you can't talk about the case. The only way you can talk about the case, any aspect of the case, is when all 12 of you are together in the jury room. So please keep that in mind. Don't read, watch, or listen to any account of the trial. No talking with anybody who's not involved in the trial. Any question, anybody? All right, thank you very much and have a wonderful evening.
All right, well, we heard it. They, jury came back and decided they want to take a break. So it sounds like they have, we'll have another day of this, which is probably not ideal, but I guess it is what it is. Give me a second here, and we got a few other things that we'll talk about. Just adjusting some stuff on stream here. Let's see here.
I'm Nicole Ellis, the PBS NewsHour's digital anchor. Thank you for joining our continued coverage of the Kyle Rittenhouse trial.
I don't care what you gotta say.
I can't see it. I'm sure it's so fine, but let's just make sure. A little closer. You're all right. I'm here. Have no fear.
It's just my news guild, the newspaper I work for. So
Okay, thanks.
make sure it doesn't come back.
No, it's all right. I just want to make sure there's
Okay.
rules about it, and you seem to be in compliance, so don't worry about it.
Okay.
You have no reason to apologize.
Looks like they're
You
just
have to apologize.
chit-chatting with some of the media that's in the courtroom.
Okay. And now I will be talking now with the alternates. They're on their way up, I assume? Yeah. Down wherever they're coming from.
We got a caller. So if
Oh,
you're
call
ready.
her and tell her, yeah.
All right. Well, let's see. Let's see what happens. I'm guessing it's going to mostly be house cleaning is what they're going to talk about. But that was the big thing we were looking for is, are they going to have a decision tonight? And the answer is no, they are not going to have a decision tonight, which is unfortunate. Let's see here. Yeah, Lion, I'm going to end up probably cutting this short. Maybe we'll see about tomorrow. I'm guessing, man, it's hard to say. I don't know when the verdict's going to come out tomorrow, if it's even going to come out tomorrow. A lot of people, a lot of the best quote-unquote legal minds of YouTube were suspecting a quick verdict this morning. There was a lot of people estimating 2 hours. Clearly, we are way past the 2-hour mark, and we're now into the next day. So, I don't know. I mean, I'd love to think, and we're going to talk a little bit here in a second, because I know that there was some, about 2 hours ago, Jack Posobiec had some inside baseball as to what was going on inside that deliberation room. Jack Posobiec is just, man, he's got a fly on every wall. I don't know how he does it, but he's an awful reliable fellow, and he's got a inside scoop on something. But we'll talk about that in a second here. But I don't know when the verdict's going to come out tomorrow, so I guess they're going to start again tomorrow at 9 a.m. Central, which I believe is going to be 10 a.m. Eastern. Yes. I don't know how long they're going to take. So it could be that we come back to 6 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. I try to stream again, and we still have nothing. It's possible. I hope not. This has been... I mean, I've certainly got a lot emotionally invested in this. I've got, a lot of time invested in this, and I think that the outcome of this will have a lot to do, a lot to say about what the future of our country is. And then certainly just for, the human element here, empathetic for Kyle and all of the trials and tribulations he's been forced through. And, I think that it is awful that he has to go through another night of not knowing what the rest of his life is going to be. I was really hoping that he'd be able to go to bed a little more soundly tonight. I'm guessing that there's some people around Kenosha that are maybe happy for one more night to make sure that their windows are boarded up correctly. But I don't know. So hopefully I can come back tomorrow to you guys with a verdict. I believe, again, Crowder has still vowed to be carrying it live when it happens, if it happens. So I guess if you want a little bit more of a real-time update, I would follow him tomorrow. I will be back tomorrow evening around this same time, hopefully to tell you what happened, maybe to see what happens with you live. I'd love to do that. I was hoping to do that tonight, but I just don't know if it's going to happen. So I would much prefer... I'd be willing to give up being able to stream for you live the verdict if it meant that, tomorrow at 10 a.m., they have a, innocent on all charges would be real nice. And I could come back to you guys 6 hours later and let you know. Alrighty. So, I guess now I wasn't sure if this was going to be relevant, because if they came back with a verdict, then it wasn't going to be relevant. But given that they haven't come back with a verdict, then some of this is relevant. So a little bit ago, let's see here, at 5:23 Eastern, so about an hour and a half ago, let's see here. Yeah, I'm trying to make sure I say the time zones correctly, because I'm in a different time zone than Kenosha, and then I know a lot of you guys are all in different time zones, but trying to make sure I say the time zone each time. So 5 p.m., about 5:23 Eastern, 5:23 p.m. Eastern, about an hour and a half ago, Jack Posobiec tweeted out that 2 jurors are currently holding up the decision, outright citing backlash per Minnesota, or per Marshall in Kenosha. So this was been explained a little bit, that there are 2 jurors who are concerned that if they come back with a certain verdict, they didn't say which one, that there'll be backlash. Jack continues down here with his reply tweet that they're worried about media leaking their names and what will happen to their families and their jobs, etc. So it sounds like, if they come back with a guilty verdict, I don't think that their families are going to be in danger. I don't think that their jobs are going to be at risk. I think it's, it's not really the right that does that kind of stuff, even though we might be upset about it. I would say that this was probably meaning that 2 jurors didn't want to acquit Kyle. And we'll get into how Jack might know this, right? Uh-oh. Let's see here. Yeah, I'll pause here and let's see what they got to say.
All right, good evening, folks, and thank you for your patience and your participation. And you're still at work and will be tomorrow. We're retiring for the evening and we'll return at 9 tomorrow morning. And even though, you're under a continuing obligation not to talk with anyone about the case, not a fellow juror, not even all of the fellow jurors, and certainly not with anybody who's, when I say certainly, it kind of downgrades the prior statement. Just don't talk with anybody about the case. Read, watch, or listen to any account of it. We'll start at 9 a.m. Any questions, anybody?
They can bring stuff, Judge?
Oh, yes, thank you for saying that. You're welcome to bring something.
Okay, so he's already dismissed the main jurors. Right now he's talking.
Obviously nothing that you would use to...
Right now he's talking to the alternate jurors, so that's not going to be nearly as important. All right, so back to analyzing Jack Posovic's tweet here. So if there's two jurors holding it up because they're worried about a decision that's going to anger the left, well, probably that means that 10 jurors want to acquit and 2 jurors are wanting to acquit but don't want to have their families harassed, right? Let's see here. So, all right, everybody's dismissed now. Let's see here. So how would Jack know this? Well, he says that there's a U.S. Marshal that is feeding him information. Now, there has been... Okay, let's see. He actually has some more on this thread here. This includes doxing threats from anarchist groups. Oh, okay, so maybe he's got some information that there's actually been specific threats made to specific jurors already. We know that somebody claiming to be George Floyd's nephew has put out a TikTok video a few days ago saying that I guess he and BLM have people in the courtroom documenting the jurors and that they're going to do things to the jurors if the verdict doesn't go their way. So maybe that's what's being referred to. But either way, so there is this theory of thin walls. It's called the thin walls theory, that the Kenosha courthouse has thin walls. There's some evidence of this from previous days when you may remember the judge screaming at D.A. Binger that during that exchange, one of the court secretaries came back in and told the judge that the jurors could hear the judge yelling at Binger. From the library. So from my understanding, the library area is where they kind of send the jurors off to be, to hang out when Binger is getting yelled at. And that is possibly where their deliberation room is, though I'm not sure if that's actually been confirmed or not. However, if it is true that they could hear the judge through the walls, it stands to reason that perhaps a marshal sitting inside the courtroom could then hear the jurors through those same walls. If sound goes one way, sometimes it goes the other way too. So the thin walls theory has been posited as the backup for Jack having this insider information. Is it true? I don't know. I'm not Jack. All I know is that Jack Posobiec, all of his insider baseball on the White House stuff is always correct. He's usually a month too early with it, but that's what happens when you've got inside information, right? So usually if Jack says he's got an inside source, he doesn't say that unless he does, and he's almost always right with his inside information there. So I don't know if this is true. Jack said it. I trust Jack. I think a lot of other people trust Jack, but you kind of got to take it for what it is, which is speculation. Let's see here. What else was said? There was There are some stories about just generally, as you guys might imagine, there is clashing outside the courtroom right now. The BLM and Antifa are protesting for now. They're probably borderline riotous. There is also some conservative groups out there in support of Kyle. I don't want to say conservative groups. I'm just saying people, probably just regular Kenosha citizens in support of Kyle, who are out there. And there was some reports that there was clashing today, that some of them started pushing each other a little bit. There is Chicago, who I think is only it's maybe 2 hours away from Kenosha. Chicago and other cities in the region, as well as Kenosha, are preparing for potential violence depending on the verdict. There's some reports that some National Guard's been deployed or will be deployed. I don't have specific numbers on that. I'm sure that there are. I just don't have them. But all of the stuff that they did that led us here, sounds like the left would like to do it again. I guess we'll see if, depending on how the verdict goes, I guess if it comes back that Kyle's innocent and that he is allowed to defend himself, I don't know if it's in the left's best interest to test other citizens of Kenosha. They might, come back that, well, if Kyle's got the right to self-defense, I do too. Which, might be a good thing. Crowder has, which actually, let's see if I can find him on Twitter here, because Crowder has, I'm not going to say lost it, but Crowder has had some strong words about what's going on here that I agree with. I just don't have as big a brass ones as he does. Let's see here. Yeah, so it was Crowder 25 minutes ago, so they're still planning on, but obviously not tonight. So it's long day at the office. When the Rittenhouse verdict comes in, we'll be ready to experience it with you. So it sounds like Steven's been waiting, getting ready to hit that go live button, but the verdict just never comes in. Let's see here. I said this morning that the verdict was going to be dependent, or the time of the show is going to be dependent on when the verdict comes in. So again, if you guys want to catch that live, I'd set your notifications to, click that bell icon for Crowder. I'm shilling his channel here. Let's see here. Now I wonder where he said it at. I know he said it a couple of days ago that he thinks that there should be demonstrations, stern demonstrations from the right if Kyle comes back guilty, because this cannot stand. It is so clear cut and obvious that Kyle is innocent here, and if the right just lets this one go when it's this clear cut, then we might as well just give up the Second Amendment altogether. There just is no Second Amendment. If Kyle doesn't get off, then no one can get off. Alrighty, well, that's all I got for you tonight. I wasn't really sure what we were going to have. Looks like not much, but I thank you for joining me. I'll be back tomorrow, regardless of if we have a verdict or not, regardless of what that verdict is. And I guess we'll continue seeing what goes on. This was not very not very well organized, but that's what happens when you're dealing with something that's this live, right? So we've spent so much time watching and analyzing and taking notes on so much of the trial, and now we're at the end here where it's just waiting and talking about it. So I'm gonna stop talking about it because I need to go eat some food. But again, thanks for joining me, and I will see you guys tomorrow, hopefully with good news. And it is possible we'll have that good news tomorrow, or we'll have bad news, and we'll just talk about how it's just fire and brimstone and the country's awful and everything sucks. I don't know yet. We'll find out tomorrow. All right, guys. Thank you. Have a good night. I'll see you tomorrow. This has been the first day of jury deliberation for the Rittenhouse trial. My name is Fox Trevize, and I am signing off. See you guys.